I want to know, how angry was the Juventus keeper after that penalty?
He was very angry. I remember one of the boys backing me up, actually. I've gone to shake his hand and he's saying, you know, why are you doing this? I says, I've just scored my penalty and one of the other lads has backed me up because they all came in then. And I'm trying to just shake my hands. It was just a big occasion for me, so it's definitely one to remember.
He didn't take it too well then?
Not at all. I think it was Stephen Pienaar came and backed me up and said, you know, if your player, Pirlo, it was, dinked it in the World Cup final, you're not saying anything to him, but I do in a friendly match and he's raging. But it was a very momentous day for me, especially moving forward at this club.
It's not the first time you've done that though, is it, that penalty?
No. The season before, for the 21s, I was saying to some of the lads, because I do it in training quite a bit. I says, oh, I'm going to do it, and then they were all saying, oh, come on, don't, just blast it or something. So that kind of set it off for me to do it in a competitive game.
Does that penalty sum you up? Completely unfazed by anything, totally relaxed?
It might do in some ways, and I think in others, as a footballer, you put on a brave face for many reasons, pressure, and things like that. And I think that can sum me up, as you said, you know, trying to be relaxed, and I take it as, you know, it's a fun thing to do. It makes people remember that occasion, and that, for me, it was nothing arrogant or cocky about doing it. It was purely for everyone's enjoyment and for me to show that I'm confident, but I'm not cocky or you know, big-headed in any sense. And I think it was a good occasion for me to do it. And I went into that particular penalty emotionless, which was strange. Thinking back after, the lads were saying, you know, you're up next, and I had no nerves, no real sense of awareness about the occasion. I just stepped up and knew what I was going to do, and it came off. And I think after that, I said in an interview, that I shanked it a bit, which I actually did, and it went a bit to the right. But running back after, I didn't realise what I'd done or what emotions was going through my head. It was all very blank, thinking back after it.
So in many ways, the best thing out of it wasn't obviously to score and a spectacular goal as well, but the fact in your development as a player, you could handle it, no nerves at all, cool under fire, if you like.
Yeah, definitely. And the gaffer's always been so behind me in doing that, wanting to express how I play, allowing me to make mistakes, to improve. And over the course of the year and a half that I've been in the first team playing, I've made so many mistakes, but the next game I've encountered that certain situation and handled it in a different way. And that's where, you know, we review that incident, and the next game, as I said, we've corrected it, and that's where the gaffer has been so great, and his background staff with me, pointing out those little things to make me become where I am today. And you know, I'll only keep doing that to better myself.
What does that backing from the manager mean to you, especially on such a massive stage, to do your learning, if you like?
It's such a confidence boost, because you want to feel comfortable in the environment and safe, I suppose, and knowing that anything or everything that you do on the pitch is going to be backed 100% going forward, and that's the way that everyone is here, and I think that's the only way that you're going to improve, with taking every situation, good or bad, dealing with it, and then moving forward.
Of course, most managers, they support all of their players, but you in particular, as a young player, playing in a position where your highlights can be, playing in a position where your mistakes can be highlighted, and with your style of play as well. So that must take a huge pressure off you.
Yeah, definitely. And I know that Ross thinks the same, being a young player and played a lot of games, high-level games as well. Knowing that pressure's off you and being able to express yourself, and I think it's helped us not only on a football side, on a personal side as well, because you learn to deal with situations in different manners or in a different sort of style. And as you said, that pressure side of it, he takes that straight away from us. So we're allowed to, you know, think about the game, prepare for the game, and then go and express ourselves while we're playing the game.
Give me an example of a mistake you've made that you've learnt from, that you've managed to cut out from your game.
I think last season we played Arsenal away. There was an incident where I think we were 2-1 down already. The third goal, I've tried to read a cutback cross, and it's gone straight through the 6-yard line, and it's a tap-in. Where, as before, as I said, I'm trying to read that pass where it's not coming, and they've scored an easy goal. I've reviewed that and practiced on it in training, where I've got to wait that extra split second, I suppose, and make the decision, but always protect my goal first before, you know, making a silly error as it was to try and intercept the ball, but make a clear-cut chance for the striker.
Is it easier for you to focus now, playing just at centre-back, as opposed to right-back, centre-back?
I think it's great that I'm playing centre-half more regularly, and I'm really enjoying my time there, and I think that everyone knows that I was always going to be a centre-half. Until I started playing it more and more, I started to believe it as well. And the more time that I spend there, I think the more experienced I'll become there. But I'll never rule out playing right back, because I think the more positions you can play, the better it is for you and for your team. You know, every team gets injuries, every team gets suspensions and things like that. So there's always spaces to be filled, and I think for every professional, you should never nail down a spot 100%. 90%. Everyone wants to play, say a striker wants to play up top, or for me, I'd love to play central defence. But I'll never rule out playing right back, because it's a great string to have to play there.
Tell me about your partnership on and off the field with Phil Jagielka.
Jags is, you know, he's been great for me. Such a lively character, I'm sure you know. Always had his arm around me, good and bad times, which I can't thank him enough. And playing with him's just so easy to get on with, understanding-wise. And he's just such a mentor for me and for the younger lads around the club. He's got experience, you know, he's got so much experience, you can't buy that, and I'm trying to take little bits from him every game and improve on my game, and I'm sure the more we play together, the better we'll be.
You are somebody who's very, very comfortable on the ball, and you like to bring the ball out as well.
Yeah.
Have you always been like that as a player, and have all your previous managers encouraged you to do that? Where does that come from?
It's come from when I was at Barnsley, my youth team. My youth team coaches were absolutely unbelievable with how we'd want to play out from the back. Similar to the gaffer here, you know, very encouraging. Any mistakes, we'd deal with it and stuff like that. And it came from them. In our youth team, we'd play out from the back. We'd encourage stepping in with the ball and carrying on those runs. And I think I've just carried on from there, taking it to obviously to the first team in Barnsley and then to here. and it's just progressed from my youth team, I'd say. And luckily enough, I've had the managers that have wanted me to do that.
Have you modelled yourself on anybody as a player, or is there a player, a centre-half, that you liked watching?
I was just a big football fan, I'd say, when I was younger, growing up and watching football, and still am today. I never really modelled anyone and watched their game, but a lot of people have said Rio Ferdinand, and the more that I watched him when I was younger, the more I think, yeah, I do stuff like him. And obviously I watched a lot of games, and that shout's been said quite a bit with Rio. And I guess the more I'm learning, the more I'm learning when to do it and when not to drive with the ball and things like that. I've got to make good decisions, and I think that's the next step of my development.
But you can only learn that through mistakes, but those, as we've said, are on such a massive platform.
Definitely. And I think that's what makes me better. The bigger the stage, the bigger the occasion, I always love to rise to it and try and rise to it. Everyone loves playing in the big games and on the big stage, and it's a great place for me to do it here, under the manager, with the players around me. I'm just relishing every second of it.
Now, you're not on social media, but I know you're aware of, after your mistake against West Ham, when you tried to bring the ball out, Gary Lineker said, fantastic to see a young English defender have the confidence to bring the ball out. Jamie Carragher, who obviously knows a bit about playing centre-half, said, nonsense, his fault, should have hoofed it. What did you make of that debate?
Two sides to the story. No, I was definitely in the wrong there. As I said before, that the time where I've got to choose when to do it and when not to do it, and that definitely wasn't the time to do it. Luckily, it didn't go in the net, and we can sit here today and say, I can move forward from that without making a big dent, I suppose. But it was good to see two high-class players saying, having a debate about these things, and everyone has their own opinion, and I tried to do what I do, is, drive out, I made that decision to do that, where I've got to realise the situation, and on another day it might have come off. On that day, it was the wrong decision for me to make.